really different for us.
Yeah.
Have you ever worked on a case where you didn't have a body?
No.
Tracy Allen was a 27-year-old mother of 2 little girls. On the night of May 18th, 2001, she was seen for the last time, and her whereabouts are still unknown. According to her estranged husband, Garland Bo Allen, Tracy abandoned her 2 young children for an unknown boyfriend and left her home of Altus, Oklahoma, never to be seen again.
Garland said that she would rather be with her dope users, so she just left her kids.
Garland Allen was the father of her 2 children. He beat the heck out of Tracy. It was an abusive relationship.
At the time that she went missing, Tracy might have wanted out, but Garland did not.
And it's complicated by the fact that she was so estranged from her own family that by the time they realized she'd been gone for so long, all of the clues and things that they could have looked at were already frozen, not just cold.
Right. The question we have to answer is, did Tracy run away because of her ex-husband's abuse, or did her ex-husband kill her in one final act of domestic violence?
We had to solve a case without a body, without a crime scene.
It's not going to be any physical evidence. Really, we got our work cut out.
It has been 16 years and still no answers.
Police consider her killing a cold case.
Years later, the case is still unsolved.
There are so many cold cases out there just waiting to be solved.
The crime scene ultimately tells the story of the murder.
We want to bring justice to these victims.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Bill Perkins.
I'm Kelly.
Nice to meet you.
Rusty Wayne.
Nice to meet you.
It's been about 5 years since I started working the Tracy Allen case. When I sat down with Tracy's mother, Wanda, I could see the hurt in her eyes, and it affected me. And I told her that I couldn't promise her the outcome, but I promised I would not stop.
How are you, Alan Brown?
Rusty Williams.
Rusty, nice to meet you.
Bill Perkins.
Hey, Bill.
Thank
Alan
you
Brown.
For this case, we brought in our veteran detective, Alan Brown. He's one of the most skilled interviewers or interrogators that I've ever worked with.
Garland, Allen, and Tracy had a lot of violence in the home.
He's got priors for assault, aggravated assault.
Long history of violence with women.
Garland Allen's criminal history shows a lifetime of domestic violence. Tracy was a victim just like many others. Garland was jailed for domestic abuse and battery, and the state then put the children in protective custody. Once Tracy divorced Garland and found suitable housing, she regained custody of her children.
They got divorced and they fought over the daughters quite a bit. But Tracy, her priority was those 2 girls. But as of May 2001, it was like somebody plucked her off the face of the earth. None of her friends heard from her. No family heard from her.
According to Garland Allen, on the day that she went missing, Tracy arrived at the trailer with an unknown black male that she was dating. She told Garland that she was leaving and he was now responsible for the children, and she just drove off. We have to prove, did she run away or was she murdered? So Tracy is kind of what we can call suspect 0, because if she did run off, then there is no murder.
She wasn't necessarily happy with the way things were going in her life at that time.
Her mom puts in a statement that in the past she has left.
She lived in a homeless shelter before.
History of homeless.
Right.
Per Garland, she left town with a black man.
She was last seen by Garland with him.
Statements from Tracy's friends confirm that she really was dating a black male. If we can find this man, we may find out where she went that night.
We got the tips that were called in, seeing her at the gas station holding a black baby, filling up the car.
This case went cold for a reason. First, there's no physical evidence that Tracy was murdered. We don't even have a body. And with the history of moving around a lot, there's the possibility that she really did skip town to get away from Garland with her new boyfriend. That might even be the reason why nobody for a few months even bothered to file a missing person report.
Garland's mother comes in and reports Tracy is missing early 2002.
With Tracy gone, Garland's mother got custody of the 2 children. She eventually did file a missing persons report so that she could get financial assistance from the state. In that report, Betty talked about instances of Rainey reporting violence that Garland had committed on Tracy.
The detectives do an interview with Rainey.
Is that conversation recorded?
Yes, it is.
So you can play that for us?
We haven't found him yet. We're still looking.
With cold cases, you have a lot of different people working on a lot of different things over the years, and having it all together in one nice, pretty pile just doesn't happen. Well, the thing about Rainey is that she's going to get picked apart on a witness stand. Finding this lost interview tape of Rainey could really give us some new insight, but along with that comes all the inconsistencies that always happen when you deal with child cases. Tracy's other daughter, Stormy, was only 7 when this happened, and she's told police that she has no idea what happened the night of her mom's disappearance. Now, if Tracy was murdered, then Garland's probably really our only suspect, right?
He was the last seen with Tracy. He picked her up at home.
Garland said Tracy told him she was running away and ran off with some unknown boyfriend that night. But Tracy's landlord later reported that the home showed no signs of anyone packing anything up. All of her belongings were still in the drawers.
He said it looked like they were ready to have dinner and just got up and left.
If Garland did murder Tracy, it's going to be hard to prove without a body. Circumstantial cases can be beautiful when they add up. Not having a body means that we first have to prove that a murder was even committed at all.
This has been a case that I would steal time where I could here and there, because I can tell you, we have not forgotten her.
Bill and his team are not the only ones still searching for the truth about what happened to Tracy. Tracy's mother, Wanda Lowe, never approved of her relationship with Garland. Hi, Wanda.
Hi.
How are you?
I'm fine. How are you?
She feared for the safety of Tracy and for her grandchildren, and they kind of lost touch right before Tracy disappeared.
She was my only daughter, and I would just love to hold her again and tell her I loved her. I haven't cried in a long time.
I think it's probably okay.
It's good for the soul, I know that. It just really upsets me. I mean, I'm not the sharpest tack in the drawer, but I'm not stupid either, and I know that there's some things with this case that are not right.
Like what? What are you thinking?
Nobody ever called me to tell me that she had disappeared, that she was missing. You know, nobody ever said, have you seen her? Have you heard from her? Do you know where she's at? What do you want us to do with these kids? We didn't stay in constant contact with each other. We might go 6 months and not even speak. I just thought, you know, maybe she's busy with her job. She was busy with the girls. She was trying to raise her children. It was just that way with us.
When Tracy disappeared, custody of the 2 girls was given to Garland's mother, and Wanda's had very little contact with the girls since all that happened.
When I talked to Tracy's ex-mother-in-law, I asked her who gave her my granddaughters, and she told me that Tracy signed them over to her. But I'm gonna tell you, Tracy told me on the phone one day, Mama, if anything ever happens to me, do not let that woman raise my kids.
Okay.
You know, it's things like that that make me believe that someone out there knows exactly what happened to my daughter, and apparently nobody wants to talk.
We are in Altus, Oklahoma, investigating the 2001 disappearance and possible murder of 27-year-old Tracy Allen. We have no body, we have no crime scene, so we're going to start this process by talking to all the people who knew Tracy best.
Tracy lived right next door to me.
Okay.
That's how I met Tracy.
Carol Leonard was Tracy's neighbor at the time of her disappearance, but more importantly, her daughter was the person who was babysitting the girls the night that all this happened.
She said she left with Garland. They were gonna go somewhere and talk. And she asked me to keep the girls, that she would be back in just a few minutes.
So Tracy left her girls with the babysitter while she went to talk with Garland. The problem here is Tracy never came back. So Carol took the girls to her house.
About 3 o'clock in the morning, somebody knocked on my door. I opened the door and it was Garland standing there, and he said, I come to get the girls. And I said, where in the hell's Tracy? And he said, we went out in the country to have a talk, and we got stuck. And she's covered in mud, and she's home taking a bath.
Did Garland have mud on him?
And no mud on him at all. He was not dirty at all.
Okay.
So the next morning, we went over there, and we knocked on the door. Nobody answered. No sign of Tracy. We looked in the bathroom for muddy, dirty clothes. There was nothing. There was nothing there to show that she even had been there to take a shower or a bath.
Now we know that Garland left with Tracy that night, and the story that he told Carol Leonard sure seems to be a lie.
You have to understand, Tracy called me and asked asked me 2 or 3 times to loan her some money to leave him because he was going to kill her.
Londell Warren was a good friend of both Tracy and Garland, so he might have some new insight to help us figure out what happened that night.
What did Garland have to say about her relationship with a black male?
Knowing Garland that he's very racist, and that would push him over the edge, that would be enough for him to kill her.
So you don't have any information personally from Garland or anybody else that Tracy was having sex with a black male?
Well, I know that she was. I was told it was damn Greg Hunt.
Greg Hunt?
Yeah.
Oh my God. Maybe we have found the mysterious man in Tracy's life.
After we did some research, we found out that Greg Hunt also went by the name of Greg Gibson. He passed away in 2011, but he had been in and out of prison, so Bill is trying to find out exactly where he was the time Tracy disappeared. This guy's either going to be the last person Tracy's seen alive with, or he is the motivation for Bo killing Tracy.
All right, so we'll have to put him on top of our list to go try to find the brother.
We've got some big news. Mr. Greg Gibson was incarcerated the whole time.
So, turns out when Tracy went missing, Greg was in jail for possession of a controlled substance.
Garland could have been so angered by the fact that Tracy was dating Greg that it could have caused him to commit murder. So Garland could have thought that using Greg as his cover story might have worked, but he had no idea that Greg was sitting in jail the whole time with his own perfect alibi. Wish we could take care of all of them that easily. We need to know more about Garland's actions right around the time of Tracy's disappearance. We've tracked down a confidential informant who knew Garland's landlord. After Tracy went missing, Garland just skipped town, and this confidential informant is the one who helped clean up the mess in the trailer that Garland left behind.
We drove up there, we went into the trailer.
This is the next day.
Yeah, I go in and I see the floor cut out, and I said, what the hell? Right in the middle of the floor.
Carpet.
The carpet, yeah, just pick up sweat.
In my experience, when I hear carpet is missing, the first thing I think of is maybe it's blood, something you might not be able to get out. But I've seen it all in my career, so who knows? It could have been anything.
You know, it said, shit got out of hand. I'll explain later. Sorry about the carpet. Please don't tell nobody I was here. And it says, B.O.
Now that's good. That's good.
Based on the information that our confidential informant gave us, I want to examine Garland's trailer as possibly being where the murder occurred.
You know, it's just so sad you listen to Hal Tracy. He was beaten and thrown around for all those years. You know, you could judge him and go, how could you put up with that? But then you've never lived in a town like this with no job and no money and no education and little kids to raise.
Right.
It happened in my own house with my stepdad.
Really?
Yeah. I asked Mom, why are you going to let him beat you up again? Oh, it's okay. It'll be okay. I don't make enough money. Leave his sorry ass.
Yeah.
And you think about all that, then you appreciate Tracy getting her first new house.
Yep.
And she was so excited just to be off on her own.
Yep.
And Garland just couldn't
stand the fact that she was getting independent.
What he couldn't stand is that he could no longer be in control of her. Well, this definitely looks like it probably be
this
similar.
is the trailer. It's similar to the one that they were in.
There's a huge possibility the last place Tracy was in Garland's trailer. But the entire trailer park is gone. So now we're gonna go look at a mock trailer set up like Garland's trailer was.
I think we'll be able to get a good idea of what transpired in the trailer.
Yeah, this probably looks very similar to what it would have been. Your entrance door comes into your living room area with your kitchen off right there. And then you've got your hallway right over this way. If she was killed there, just to be able to get a visual of the layout is going to help us be able to piece this together. You can see from the photo, clearly the carpets do not match. After listening to the confidential informant about the missing piece of carpet, it's really clear that a large piece of carpet is laying over where it was cut. They're nowhere similar. You know,
Right.
it's not like it was a professional job.
No, they didn't try to cut it in.
No,
nothing.
they didn't try to cut it in. It was laid over the linoleum so that if somebody came looking for it, there wouldn't be any blood, there wouldn't be anything.
And nobody's going to ask any questions because it was so messed up anyway.
Right.
The photos that we have actually do corroborate the missing carpet in the trailer, and that's another good piece of circumstantial evidence in this case. But we need someone who can tell us what Garland really did the last night that Tracy was ever seen, and that person's going to be his mother. You ready?
Yeah.
The team just picked up Betty Whitus, the mother of our main suspect, Garland Allen. Garland has a history of violence against women, and he's even broken her nose. It's not just difficult, but pretty much impossible to get a mother to talk about her child even when they are violent, but we're going to hope that Alan Brown can have a little luck with that.
Betty, we appreciate you coming in. Really want to do is just start with back when Garland brought the kids to you that morning.
Well, early that morning, he came in and he said, "Here, Mama, I can't raise these kids." Tracy said she didn't want them.
Okay. What do you remember about Garland's demeanor when he came over?
He was just heartbroken. He acted like a man's been slapped in the face and said, "Here's your kids, and I'm gone."
Come on, Betty.
Okay. Do you remember Garland leaving your house that morning for 45 minutes and came back? He was all muddy, washed his clothes. Yep.
When Tracy was first declared missing, Betty said Garland showed up at her house, covered in mud, immediately washed his clothes, and threw his boots away. He was hiding something then, and I can guarantee you Betty's hiding something now.
You told the police back when they initially interviewed you that Garland Paul had a look on his face that you had never seen in your life, and you know he had done something bad. What do you think happened to Tracy?
I don't know.
You know that Tracy didn't walk away from those girls.
No, I did not know it.
That poor old girl Tracy is still missing to this day. She's dead. Okay?
Do you know that?
Yes,
fact?
ma'am. Yes,
Do you
ma'am.
know that
I know
fact?
that for a fact. Yes, ma'am. That poor old girl Tracy is still missing to this day. She's dead. Okay?
Do you know that?
Yes,
fact?
ma'am. Yes,
you know
ma'am.
that
I know
fact?
that for a fact. Yes, ma'am. I sure do.
Oh, is she crying? Alan's fantastic. He's got Betty in there, and he's sort of bluffing her that maybe we found the body, and he's hoping that he can get her to crack and say something new.
Where's your remains?
I know that she is dead. And I'm going to tell you something, Betty. You know good and well that Garland beat that girl on a regular basis. You don't think she'd walk away from those kids, do you?
There you go. Thank you, finally.
Rainey came to me and said, "Nanny, are we ever going to find my mama?" I said, "I don't know, baby.
What do you think happened to her?
I don't know. I knew I know. I wouldn't be sitting here bawling my eyes out."
Right. And do you think Garland did something to her?
Yeah. I don't want him to do it, but maybe he did do it.
You ever asked Garland directly, did you kill?
I'm scared of Garland.
You're scared of Garland. Where would Garland put her body?
No, I don't know. I look.
So you actually went out and looked for Tracy's body?
I sure did.
So you believed she was dead? You knew she was dead?
I didn't know she
Well,
was.
you know what I mean. In your heart.
I thought, in my mind, where he would put her.
That's huge if she went looking for the body.
Yeah.
And where'd you go look?
I walked out where we always used to fish and tent. Tracy just loved that place. I've got a saying in life, and I told him one day, "Gotta get you for this, darling."
She never said that before.
Thanks to Betty telling the truth about her own son, a strong circumstantial case just keeps working against Garland. We're trying to strategize on the best plan about how to approach Garland, and Bill comes in and says he has something big he needs to tell us.
I have looked and looked and looked for those interviews with Rainey. We found them yesterday.
Wow. Several months after Betty's missing person report was filed, the investigators conducted an interview of Rainey. Rainey was 3 years old when her mom disappeared, and she was 5 when this interview took place.
How old are you? 5 years old? All right. I'm going to draw just a little bit. Who all lives at your house?
Papa and me.
Who else lives there? That's everybody that lives at your house? Where does Mama live?
Rolled up on the carpet with her blanket on her face and rolled up in a rug and tied her with a rope and put her in the ditch.
Put her in a ditch?
Oh my God.
Who did that?
My daddy.
Oh. Did you see it?
Yeah. I was asleep in the front bed and we wake up and see Mom and Daddy fighting in the room. And Mama said called the policeman and arrested him.
This is the beautiful part of cold cases, the hope that there's all this information out there that just needs to be mined for. Can a defense lawyer pick it apart? Yeah. But anybody that hears that tape is going to know that Rainey saw something. It is time that we confront Garland Allen face to face. He is living in Hill County, Texas, in a town called Hillsboro. Garland's trailer was recently burglarized, so the Hill County Sheriff's Department has come up with this idea to have him come down and identify some of his stolen property.
Hello?
Is this Garland Allen?
Yes.
Hey, this is Sergeant McClanahan at Hill County Sheriff's Office.
Yes, sir.
Listen, I think I may have your pocket knife. Can you come up to the office and look at that thing for me?
Okay, I got to pick up my daughter. She gets out of school and she's at Marvel.
This is an amazing opportunity. If he brings Rainey, then we can question her too.
Give me about, I guess, an hour or so.
Well, I'll be here.
Thank you.
You bet.
It's been a long time since anyone's asked Garland any questions about Tracy. He has no idea what he's about to walk into.
Garland, I'm Rusty Williams. I'm out this detective. This is Alan Brown. He's an investigator.
His assistant. Good to meet you.
We're continuing the investigation of Tracy Allen, and we thought maybe you could help us fill in some empty gaps that we had and just take just a little bit of your time.
We have our main suspect, Garland Allen, and his daughter, Rainey, separated for questioning. We have caught Garland completely off guard, so the hope is that he's too surprised to be able to remember all of the lies he's told over the years.
On the night she came up missing, where were you on that evening?
I was at home.
How did you come to end up with the kids?
I went to go get them. She told me to go get the kids. She was leaving. The boyfriend was honking the horn out there in the car, or whoever was with her.
Okay. You know him?
Never seen him in my life.
Never seen him before. No. What'd he look like?
He was a black guy.
And then what'd you do?
I went and got my kids.
Okay. Tracy was living at the time in that house over on Elm. Is that correct?
I don't know where she was living at the time.
How did you know to go to Carol's house?
Tracy told me to go get them.
And you,
okay.
Did you already know where Carol lived?
Well, yes, sir.
And so you knew Tracy lived just right down the street?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Carol said you come at 2 in the morning. What'd you tell Carol about the kids, why you were picking them up?
I didn't tell her nothing.
Carol said, Garland told me they got stuck in the mud and that Tracy got out and got all muddy and was over home taking a shower. Your story don't match, man.
Told everything that I...
But you lied to us. After you'd brought them kids to your mother and dropped them off, your own mother says you left for 45 minutes, maybe to an hour. And when you came back, it's covered in mud. And she said you took your clothes off and took them to the wash, and you told her, I had a flat. And these people aren't lying, Garland. They're answering, you know what?
I'm not lying either.
You gotta be, Garland.
No, I'm not. I'm not lying to you.
Garland, she was with you that night.
I'm not lying to you. She wasn't with me. She was with somebody else.
Yeah.
I ain't done nothing to Tracy. I didn't kill nobody.
While Alan and Rusty are talking to Garland, Bill and I are going to talk to Rainey in the presence of Garland's ex-wife and Rainey's friend, Brandy. We want to get Rainey's side of the events surrounding the disappearance of her mother. You know, we want to talk to you, Rainey, because there's a whole lot to all this that maybe you've never been told and don't understand.
I haven't been told a lot, and I don't appreciate it, because last time that I heard, we pronounced my mom dead.
Right?
Whether she's physically dead or not, she's dead to me.
Does it matter to you if someone killed your mom?
Honestly, not really. She never came in my life. She was there for 2 years.
And we would love for you to hear the tape that broke our heart. It's a tape that you gave when you were 5 years old about what happened when you were 3 and your little girl voice. She doesn't have to. She can hear it.
What happened to the carpet in the trailer?
Silence.
What happened to the big section of carpet cut out? You cut a big square out of it.
Well, I started taking it out.
So you take out the carpet by cutting the center out instead of pulling it up at the edges?
Well,
You only cut one piece.
Why did you cut it out and leave the other? Why did you cut just that section out?
Because the next morning, I was supposed to be at work. I was in the process of changing it out. I was working on the house.
Garland had his story straight 11 years ago, had an answer for everything. But now that time has passed and we're catching him off guard, he can't remember what he said before.
I'm telling you right now, man, you will do yourself good if you tell the truth about Tracy.
I ain't done nothing, no.
Hit her
Y'all
head?
trying to pin something on me that ain't right.
Garland, I don't have to pin it on you. Your story about that day is a lie. Tracy's dead, and you did it.
No, I didn't. Can I be dismissed?
Rainey Allen has been lied to her entire life, and because of those lies, she's been possibly living with a killer. It's crucial for Rainey to listen to this tape of the interview she gave when she was 5 years old. When she hears in her own words what she told back then, she might understand how important it is for her to get away from Garland.
Spell your name for me.
R-A-I-C-A-Y.
All right.
That's you.
I'm going to draw just a little bit. Who all lives at your house?
Papa and me.
Who else lives there? That's everybody that lives at your house? Where does Mama live?
Rolled up on the carpet with her put blanket on her face and rolled up in a rug and tied her with a rope and put her in the ditch.
Put her in a ditch? Who did that?
My daddy.
Do you see why we keep going? You've been lied to for a long time.
I know that your whole life you've not heard about your mom, but when she was taken out of this world, DHS signed over custody to her on the condition she would divorce your father.
You've been told about her just walking away and leaving. That's not the truth.
And she picked you and your sister over him, and then she was murdered. Your daddy murdered your mother, baby.
And every time we've talked to him, Rainey, he tells a different story.
Because when you tell the truth, you always remember the truth. And your daddy can't keep up with what happened that night because he's never told the truth. And all we want to be able to do is to tell you, starting at the age of 15, you can build your life with the truth around you, not based on a whole bunch of lies that come crashing down on you one day. What questions do you have, Rainey? What are you thinking?
Right now, I don't know whether to go back with my dad, go with Brandy. I don't know what to do.
Do you feel safe with your dad? Do you feel safe?
But no.
Okay.
Because I guarantee he's gonna.
He's gonna ask you a million questions.
Yes.
I'll just ask if she can spend the night, spend the weekend.
Yeah. Are you with him at all? No. Completely broken up?
We're divorced.
Okay, done. In the meantime, we need to put together a probable cause for Garland Allen. Even without finding a body and trying as hard as you have, look at the beautiful case you built.
Right.
We have a fantastic circumstantial evidence case against Garland Allen for the murder of his ex-wife, Tracy. First of all, Garland was known to beat Tracy, and he even went to prison for that kind of violence. Then we discovered that he lied about Tracy and his whereabouts after he says he picked up his kids that night.
We looked in the bathroom for muddy, dirty clothes. There was nothing.
His own mother says he acted suspiciously around that time, and now she admits that even she believes he was involved.
And I told him one day, gotta get you for this, Garland.
And after looking at photos of the trailer, we see that a large piece of carpet was missing, and Garland's explanation for that carpet is still changing.
I was in the process of changing it
But it
out.
wasn't taken up from the edges. You just cut the center out.
Tragically, his 5-year-old daughter gave us an even more sinister explanation of what happened that night in the trailer.
Wound up in the carpet. You couldn't look at
But through all of this, the one common factor is that Garland has always lied.
And I think everybody else connected to them is now seeing the puzzle pieces being put together, and it's making sense.
Yeah.
The note said, shit got out of hand. Sorry about the carpet. Please don't tell nobody else here.
I think we're there.
The chips are falling.
Chips are falling.
They definitely are.
Thanks to the hard work of Bill Perkins and his team, after 12 long years, it's finally time for Bill to present this case with a strong circumstantial evidence and probable cause to the DA. Well, go take it to the DA and let us know what he says.
Right.
You ready?
Good luck.
Thanks.
My name is Bill Perkins. I'm a detective in Altus, Oklahoma. I have a murder warrant on Garland Paul Allen.
Showing up the last couple of days.
After presenting the case to the DA, an arrest warrant has been issued against Garland Allen for second-degree murder. Now Bill and Allen are going to go out and hunt him down.
See that orange and white truck? You were going to go up and knock on the door?
It seems obvious that Garland knows we're trying to track him down, and my worry is that he has firearms that we know of, and he could be dangerous.
Yeah, he's definitely padlocked everything up. Looks like he's even left his animals behind.
It's pretty clear that Garland's on the run now.
Which one is she? She's right here.
And if anybody's going to know where he is, it's going to be his daughter, Rainey.
Hey, Brandon. Have you seen Garland? Where's he at? I mean, just be honest with
Yeah,
me.
I have seen him, and I don't know where he's at.
I'm going to show you something.
It's a felony warrant for second-degree murder.
For killing your mother. I think everybody knew that this day was coming, but I don't want to see him getting hurt by trying to fight the police and stuff, because I'm telling you, you can't run from this.
Yeah.
This is nationwide. The most important thing is he turned himself in. He's a violent person. And Rainey, I realize he's your father, and no matter what he's done, you still love him, right?
Mm-hmm.
But he's made some bad choices, okay? And there's always repercussions for that. Do you think you could get him on the phone?
Yeah.
Does it have a speakerphone?
Call him and tell him they have a felony warrant for second-degree murder for you. Okay.
Was he at work today? Or do you know?
They have a felony arrest warrant for your arrest. Don't run. It's just gonna make it worse. Just don't run. I know. Just don't run.
I can't even imagine how shell-shocked Stormy and Rainey are. And if I know anything about the children of abusers, they have a hard time believing that any parent can be a bad guy, because you have to remember, it's the only parent they're ever going to have.
Rainey asked you if he'll talk with me.
Will you talk with the detective? Yeah, here.
Garland, this is Bill Perkins. We talked before. Garland, I've got the warrant now. It's been signed. You're going to be arrested one way or the other. I would rather do it the safe way. The best thing to do. Garland, I just follow the evidence where it takes me. Garland, if you'll tell me where you're at, I'll come to you, okay? We'll get you taken care of. You'll come to me? If you can turn yourself in, that's huge. That is absolutely huge. If you keep to your agreement, I will bring Rainey down and I will let you visit with her, okay? Okay, so how long do I need to wait on you?
Give me an hour.
Hey, this is Bill. I just want to let you know he was a no-show at the Hill County Sheriff's Office. Do they have that plate number for that truck?
That's a black Toyota?
Yeah, it's okay. And he may be towing a flatbed trailer with some property on it.
He's somewhere in the area.
All right, I appreciate you truly getting out of your hair. Thank y'all.
The police have received information that Garland Allen can be found in Wise County, Texas. He's cut his hair to change his appearance, and he's trying to cover his tracks by escaping in a canoe down the Brazos River. Once located, Garland fled on foot and then was chased through the woods before he was apprehended by the U.S. Marshals.
You tell me what happened the best you can remember.
It's time to take care of this situation.
On December the 2nd, 2013, Garland Allen was located in Wise County, Texas. He fled on foot through the woods and was quickly apprehended by the U.S. Marshals.
You tell me what happened the best you can remember and try to get as detailed as you can.
In the days following his arrest, he was turned over into the custody of the Altus, Oklahoma Police Department.
That night I got home from work. Tracy come over. We started talking about kids and her leaving with some other man. That didn't go over too well. We went to argue. I just told her to leave and she got in my face. And I pushed her out the door. I didn't know she was gonna fall down the stairs and hit her head on everything down there. I had all my horseshoe equipment down there. I run down the stairs and picked her up. I didn't know she was hurt as bad as she was. So I carried her back in the house and tried to stop the bleeding, and she wouldn't stop.
Was she saying anything after she fell? Did she make any sounds?
Crying. I couldn't revive her. She died in my arms.
The picture that Garland is presenting is typical. He's minimizing, trying to make it less than it is to get charges either not filed at all or filed as a lesser included. But I think with his history of physical abuse, a jury's going to see right through that and nobody's going to believe it. But at least we finally got Garland admitting responsibility in the involvement of Tracy's death.
I wrapped her up in a blanket. We went to the lake. And I buried her.
Garland, take my hand. Listen to me, take my hand. I need to ask you something. If the girls were over at the babysitter's, how did Rainey come up with the story? Did she hear something? Or?
She had to, that's not right.
The statement that Rainey made when she was 5 years old might not ever see the light of a courtroom, but it helped us solve this case, and she was right.
Why did you not try to drive her to the hospital or something? Was there something?
I'm afraid she's gonna go back to jail.
Okay.
Killers think they're so tough until they're busted and caught. And Garland's tears ain't for nobody but himself. Garland kept this horrible secret for 12 long years. And now with the help of the Texas Rangers and Bill Perkins, we're headed out to try and find her body.
Hey, Garland, do you remember anything about any cinder block I had to put on top?
I'll go off to the side, but I can't tell because they in the brush. I'm scared to death. I don't know what to do.
It's hard for just a second, and then it just pushes right through.
This is the only soft spot that they're hitting, so.
Well,
You see it?
bone.
I have what appears to be a rib. You see it?
And there's some white piece, maybe jewelry or something with it.
Yeah, there's
This whole area has got to be opened up. Everything fits his story.
Yep.
There's no reason to believe this is a dead dog or anything like that.
It's going to take some time for the lab result to be done to establish that this is Tracy definitively, but Garland, by his own admission, is her killer. Hi, Wanda. How are you?
I'm doing okay.
Yeah. Waiting?
Oh, yeah.
The hardest part of our job now is telling Wanda,
Yeah.
but the hope is that at least she'll get some answers to the questions she's had for so long.
I just need to know what happened to her, you know.
With all the work that Bill Perkins has done all these years and with the extra work this last week or so, Garland has finally confessed to killing Tracy. He's told us where he buried her body.
It's been a long time coming.
It has.
You know, mothers have instincts. And I just knew, my soul, that it was him. I want to bring her home and lay her next to her grandparents. Thank you isn't enough.
We hope that this will help you finally be able to put your daughter to rest. Garland let Tracy's mother wonder and live in pain for 12 years. And then he told everyone that she left her babies behind. Now it is time for the justice system to go to work, and Garland can sit in prison for the rest of his life and appreciate all the consequences of what all he's done.
Well, we're in Camp Hill, Alabama.
Tallapoosa County, Alabama. That's a cool name, huh?
It is.
And Camp Hill, Alabama has about 900 people. So once again, we come to a small town where our local cops, in this case, Chief Roosevelt Finley and Lieutenant Nathan White, are in charge of all the investigations for every kind of crime committed.
They're wearing a lot of hats.
On February the 21st, 2005, Miss Willie Louise Kellum, who was 78 years old, was murdered in her own house. She was found strangled to death. The very first law enforcement officer that made the scene that night was Chief Finley, who knew the victim.
To find her that way was very disturbing to me, very.
To think that something like that happened on your watch and was probably committed by someone that you know very well.
I'm just telling you, I don't remember.
You want to do all that you can to solve it.
We know you can't remember anything. Hell, you've been smoking crack, pot, and every damn thing else.
And I think that the chief, in his whole town, the people that he wants to protect and keep safe, who would he want to keep safe more than Miss Louise? Nobody.
She's the victim. Remember that.
The DA here said that if we make enough progress this week and he thinks he has enough evidence to convict, he can actually call a special grand jury and have them indict the case.
Well, if we were to get some good results back from the lab, then maybe that's something he would do. Because the police were so the financial resources to have it all tested.
I swear, till the day you die, you're going to be hoping for those lab results. Aren't you?
Yes, of course.
It has been 16 years and still no answers.
Police consider her killing a cold case.
Years later, the case is still unsolved.
There are so many cold cases out there just waiting to be solved.
The crime scene ultimately tells the story of the murder.
We want to bring justice to these victims. Hey, guys.
Hey.
Hey.
Good
How are
morning.
you all doing?
Yolanda
I'm
McClary.
Kelly. Nice to meet you. We're excited to be here.
Well, we're excited to have y'all.
Y'all, this is Dee Dee Shirley.
Nathan White.
Dee Dee Shirley, glad to meet you, Nathan.
This week, for the first time, we're bringing in Dee Dee Shirley. He's a retired homicide cop from the Houston Police Department. He has more experience than probably any homicide detective that's ever been through HPD. He's a great cop. Willie Louise Kellum. Did you know Willie?
Knew her real well.
What was she known as around town?
Miss Louise. Miss Louise was a friend of mine. She was a kind, sweet, considerate person. When she was killed, I was shocked and I had to ensure that the person responsible for her death would be captured.
Tell us what happened that night.
Back around February the 21st, 2005, I responded to a call regarding a person that was down at a residence off of Thompson Street. I arrived there on the scene. I met her grandson, Douglas, so I immediately told him to stay on the outside of the residence. As I entered into the house, I could see clearly that she had a cord wrapped around her neck and she was partially clothed. As I began to check out the house and turn the corner to go into another room, as I turned the corner, I felt, your hair stand up on the back of your neck, and there was Douglas. My finger was on the trigger, and I asked him, "What the hell are you doing in here?" And it was as though he was watching me to see what I was going to observe. From that point, I notified dispatch to come.
They argue at 10:15. She can be dead by 10:16 or 17, really and truthfully.
Miss Louise's time of death has never been confirmed, and determining when the murder occurred is going to become crucial in solving this case. If Miss Louise died close to 10 o'clock p.m., then her grandson, Douglas, will have no alibi for this murder.
So here's Eric Freeman.
Now, Eric, we know he was staying there too, but Eric was in and out staying with his girlfriend.
And what kind of criminal history does Eric have? Is he as bad
Eric
as Douglas?
just got out of prison for robbery.
It's not like all of Miss Louise's kids and grandkids had a criminal history, but Doug and Eric were a couple of slugs. Eric Freeman has an alibi that he was at work until 2:30 p.m., but he could have committed his grandmother's murder after that. Also, phone records show that on that day, there were some phone calls made to Miss Louise's house from Eric's girlfriend's house, so it could have been that she was trying to get a hold of Eric at the house during the time of the murder. So the last person we're going to put up on the board is Marcus Hurd.
He's a sick individual because he's involved in molestation of his own child. His name came up through the course of a statement from someone about him making a phone call, allegedly.
Marcus Hurd got on our radar for one reason. During the time of the murder, a phone call was made from Miss Louise's house to another house in town belonging to the Todd family. The Todds weren't acquainted with Miss Louise, but they believed that the call could have come from Marcus Hurd because at that time he was dating their daughter and they got calls all the time from him.
Marcus Hurd has an alibi for a time frame during that day, and he also has no known connection to the victim or the family, which is making him less likely a suspect.
Chief, if you could take us out to meet the family, we need to talk to him.
I'm ready.
We are going to meet two of Miss Louise's daughters. Joanne is the oldest daughter, and Cameron is the baby. Well, Joanne was the one who lived here back then, who knows the reality of her mom's life around the time this murder happened. She's had a stroke. I'm worried that it might affect her memory.
Hey, Cameron.
How are you?
Doing? Come here, girl. It's good to see you.
You too.
Hi, Kelly.
Hi, Kelly.
Nice to meet you.
As I told you before, I knew your mother personally, but I told you we was not going to give up.
You did.
Tell us about her.
She's a great mom.
Strict.
She was the kind of mother that you got nothing over on.
She's shaking her head over that. So we have just a couple of questions to try and jog your memory, okay? Do you know whether or not right in the immediate days before she was murdered, she cashed a check or came into any money or got a deposit or anything like that?
I think she got her income tax.
How much was it?
She wouldn't tell me.
Have you ever talked to your nephews about that night, finding her and all that? Mm-hmm. Who'd you talk to?
Doug.
Take your time.
You know, he might have told you something that's important. That's the only reason I'm asking you, okay? It might be some little thing that helps us.
Take your time, dear. Take your time.
You know, he might have told you something that's important. That's the only reason I'm asking you, okay? We are in Camp Hill, Alabama, investigating the 2005 rape and murder of 78-year-old Louise Kellum. We've started our investigation by talking to two of the victim's daughters. We're hoping that they can tell us more about the murder and any involvement that her grandsons might have had in her death.
He said when he found Mama, she was at the foot of the bed. She didn't have on no clothes. She just had a shirt around her neck.
What does that tell you, Joanne? What are you thinking?
Most people in the town think somebody in the family did it.
Who do you think did it?
I don't know if Doug did it.
Okay.
Did you know Doug was living there?
No.
You didn't know that?
Mm-mm.
Why didn't he stay with his own mother?
Because they couldn't get along with each other.
Would you call him violent?
Mm-hmm. When he was drinking, yes. Check out all that family.
I mean, Chief's never given up. That's why we're here. We're going to do everything that we can, and I hope we can give y'all some answers.
Okay.
It just breaks your heart to think about a family torn apart by an event like this. Even Joanne thinks it's possible that the grandsons were involved. Miss Louise's grandson, Doug, is the one who discovered the body, so taking a look at the crime scene can tell us whether or not his actions were suspicious that night.
I guess this fits the description of a deserted house.
Oh, yeah. You got your snake repellent on?
I'm saying about a live chicken and a dead hero.
The crime scene in this case is Miss Louise's house, which is located in Camp Hill. The house has been long since abandoned, so we're all on edge as we're approaching this crime scene.
He's jumping already. We hope that by further investigating the crime scene, we can get a little more insight into the murderer and the murder.
In the picture, she actually had like a little table right here on the corner.
The table and the broom handle were out here.
Both parts were
In
there.
close proximity right there.
Doug stated that he didn't have a key to the house, and that's probably because his grandmother didn't really trust him. When he got there, the door was locked, a light was on. He beat on the door, Granny didn't answer, so he used a broom handle to try and pry open the door. And why would you use a broom handle when it's about this big around to get into a door that's like this tightly shut? This doesn't make any sense.
He says he tried one piece of it and then tried the other. It was already broken.
Okay.
To get in.
Once inside, Doug claims to have called out for his grandmother and got no response. When he turned the lights on, he found actually sitting on the floor, kind of leaning up against that.
And you're in the
bed.
spot where she was? Okay.
Yeah.
So when he comes in,
there's no doubt he would see her.
all right.
Absolutely not.
Okay. In Doug's statement, he claims to have found his grandmother lying unconscious on the floor in his bedroom. Because he was unable to find the phone, he claims he went to a nearby gas station to call 911.
The position that she's found in is where she was when she was strangled. The cord was wrapped around the victim's neck twice and then brought up from behind, tied, and pulled up. Miss Louise was strangled with a cord from a set of headphones. The headphones belonged to Doug, and the murder occurred in Doug's room. All the cord is coming up, which would say the person's probably behind her on the bed. Part of her pant leg actually swings over the box, so the box is there first.
That means that box was opened
Yeah.
before the assault happened. Thinking the rape was an afterthought of the robbery.
It's control, it's anger, or humiliation. If she wouldn't up the money or simply didn't have any more.
That's a really sick person. If you're
It's
looking
sick.
into the eyes of your own grandmother and doing that, that's a special kind of sick.
Yep.
Y'all ready to go?
Y'all ready?
Yeah.
Ready. Clear.
In the afternoon on the day she was murdered, Miss Louise was seen running errands around town. One piece of evidence no longer at the crime scene is the car Miss Louise drove around town. I think it's worth checking out. Evidence that seemingly did not have much meaning at the time of the murder could provide us with some new information today. Luckily, the PD in Camp Hill kept all the evidence intact, including Miss Louise's car. She was going to do laundry that day.
Yep. You should be unlocked already.
Yeah. This car is just as it was 8 years ago. Western Union. It's like going through a time capsule of Miss Louise's final moments. Oh, my goodness. Laundry. That's what she did that day. Miss Louise was last seen grocery shopping around 2 p.m., but witness statements said that she had planned on stopping at the laundromat on her way home. These don't smell like food, it smells like bleach. She doesn't take them out of the car.
She had groceries.
Okay.
She took her groceries in first.
So she walked into the house with groceries and stuff she bought, but never made it back out to her car for the laundry. Tends to make me want to believe intruder happened right after that, or maybe was even waiting for her. If Miss Louise could not make it back out to her car to retrieve her clean laundry, that would indicate she was murdered possibly in the late afternoon and not at 10 p.m. at night. If we could narrow in on the time of death, we can figure out which one of our suspects has an alibi or which one doesn't.
We're starting to believe that the rape and murder of 78-year-old Louise Kellum happened sometime in the afternoon of February the 21st, 2005. Once we can focus in on her time of death, we can try and determine which of our suspects have alibis for that particular time. Hello?
Hey, how are you?
Retired Detective Bobby Blake was one of the first investigators to join Chief Finley the night of the murder. What time did you get there?
I don't remember the exact time.
But her body was still there when you got there?
Yes, ma'am. I helped the state examiner remove her body from the house.
Do you remember anything about her being in rigor?
She was slightly.
There's not that many ways to be able to determine exact time of death, but one of the ways is through rigor mortis, which is the stiffening of the muscles, which starts in 3 to 4 hours after death.
I just remember when we tried to lay her flat on the gurney, that she was just slightly stiff.
Wow. Well, now we know that. Now we're getting somewhere. Bobby Blake says there was stiffness in the body, and the degree of stiffness does help to estimate the time elapsed.
If she's stiff enough to tell, then that means it's been longer than 3 to 4 hours, because it starts in the jaw and the neck and the face muscles after 3 to 4 hours.
So you're talking about like if she was like this, when you go to put her on the gurney, you had to
We had to
push her
flatten her
straight.
out.
Okay, but that would be right, say 8 hours later.
Yeah, 8 hours later.
Okay.
The medical examiner arrived to remove Miss Louise's body around midnight. Based on the degree of her rigor, it would appear that she was probably murdered sometime between 4 and 7 p.m., right after she returned from the laundromat. Problem is, it seems our main suspect, Doug, has an alibi for that time.
I would love for Douglas to be the suspect, but he went to work, correct, at Nexel at 2 o'clock in the afternoon.
So how can he do it if he's...
How can he do it if he's at work? We have witnesses that saw him on and off all night inside the plant.
So he's really at work.
And he clocks out.
If we feel pretty sure that Doug Freeman committed this crime, we're going to have to figure out how he's not at work if he's not.
If it's going to be Douglas, we're going to have to completely tear down the alibi of his work.
Right.
We need to track down Doug Freeman and his brother Eric to try and confirm their alibis for the time that we've discovered that their grandmother was killed. Doug has been missing in action lately, probably because he's got 5 arrest warrants out for him for other crimes. Chief Finley knows that Doug often stays at his mother Geraldine's house, so that's where we're going to look for him first. You want me to stay here?
Yes. Good morning. How you doing?
What you doing here?
I want to talk to you about your mother.
Oh,
We need to talk to Doug.
I don't know where he is right now.
Hey, Sidney, how you doing? Can you come outside? You're not under arrest. Trust me.
This is about Granny.
It's about Granny.
When Chief Finley got inside Geraldine's house, Doug wasn't there, but other family members who we think really might have information were there. It's always better strategically to interview everyone separately.
You been doing okay?
I've been trying to make it. How about yourself?
Well, I've been trying to make it. And this thing about your grandmother really bothered me.
Yeah.
Your mom's not doing so well, huh?
Yeah, she just had a stroke.
Wow. And your mom is in what kind of shape? I didn't know that.
She's doing fair.
She's not doing that great. Sidney Freeman is another brother to Eric and Doug Freeman. He's the oldest. He's the most responsible today and was very cooperative to all of the initial investigators.
Who are you, ma'am? Crystal, what's your last name?
Ferris.
Crystal Ferris. What's your relationship to her?
I used to date her son.
Which one?
Doug.
Is Doug here?
No.
Okay. I know Doug was a suspect in this when it happened, but it would be extremely helpful if we could talk to Doug about it.
Okay.
Would you feel comfortable going out the car and talking to me?
Sure.
Okay. How long ago did you date Doug?
We were together for 8.5 years.
8.5 years?
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, we're still talking and everything, but we're just not together. We're taking a break, I guess.
Where is he now?
Honestly, I don't know. I don't know.
Has Doug ever made any admissions to you about being involved in it?
No. I've asked him. I said, well, baby, I said, be honest with me. I said, did you have anything to do with it, or do you know anything about it? And he said no. And
No.
I believe him.
Okay.
Chris, I know you're lying about one little thing. I know you can get a hold of Doug. Okay? I know it. We need to talk to Doug.
Okay.
Okay?
If somebody were to ask you right now, who do you think hurt and killed your grandma, what would you say?
I heard of Marquise Hurd because I heard that he had made a phone call on my grandma's phone.
And what'd that make you think?
I mean, it made me think that he might have had something, I knew something about it.
Do you know Marquise Hurd? Have you heard the name?
Mm-mm. No, doesn't sound familiar.
And something else
There
I
goes
didn't...
Eric.
Eric?
There's the other book.
We're in luck because our other main suspect, Eric Freeman, just walked up into the middle of our investigation.
Right there.
Yeah.
Hey, Eric. Hold on a minute.
We're at the home of Jerry Lynn Freeman in Camp Hill, Alabama, investigating the 2005 rape and murder of 78-year-old Louise Kellum. And Eric Freeman, one of our main suspects, just walked right up to the house.
Hey, Eric. Hold on a minute.
Eric, who does have a violent criminal prior, has an alibi up until 2:30 that day, and we know that our murder happened sometime between 4:30 and 7, so we need to account for the rest of that day. On top of that, there are several unexplained calls to the home of Miss Kellum from Eric Freeman's girlfriend.
Tell me what you remember about your grandmother's case.
Well, I tried calling her because she was taking me back and forth to work. I called that night because I was going back down there because my current girl, Tanya, ex-wife, we was in disagreement and I was trying to go back down there.
How many times you called?
Probably like 2 or 3 because I kept getting a voicemail, which was unusual.
The day of the murder, there are 6 calls from a number that comes back to Tanya Philpott.
That's it.
It seemed like she's calling like 649,
she
649, 650, 651.
Nah, I'm calling the house. I'm staying with Tanya in Western Crossing Trailer Park.
Okay.
So I was trying to call my grandma to get down there.
Thank you. And she never answered.
Nah, and that's why I was tripping. I didn't know she had a voicemail until that day.
You never thought over the years, Eric, that she was already dead by then?
I was thinking back, I was like, damn, doing that whole time that...
Okay, take your time.
Yeah, I was thinking that the whole time. I called. That was happening when I was calling.
It probably was. Eric does seem truthful to me. I feel satisfied with the explanation he's given that accounts for his whereabouts during the time of the murder. We learned a lot at the home of Geraldine Freeman. We're now able to clear Eric Freeman, but not his brother Doug. With 5 arrest warrants on his head, it's really unlikely we're going to be able to find Doug and talk to him. So what we're going to do is bring in the co-worker who originally alibied him to see what she has to say.
Are you absolutely certain, to the best of your knowledge, that you saw Doug Freeman when you got there?
Yes, he was at work that day because he rode back with us from work.
What time was your lunch break? When did y'all usually stop and take lunch?
It's 6:30.
Could you leave the plant on your lunch break?
Yes.
Doug doesn't have a car, so in order for Doug to commit this crime, he has to have people on standby to pick him up and bring him back. And it doesn't make any sense to me, because honestly, most killers are stupid. And for Doug to pull this off over a 30-minute lunch break seems a little complicated. Did you ever hear rumors around town about what happened to Miss Louise?
Well, I heard that Marcus did it, because Marcus and Doug was real tight.
Marcus heard.
Yes.
And you know they were tight back then?
Yeah, they was close back then. Mark used to go down his house all the time.
My grandmama house?
Yes.
So you had seen Marcus going toward that house before?
Yes.
That's new.
Yes, it is. We didn't know that. So Nikki is now telling us that Marcus and Doug were tight, so that gives them a direct connection to the murder. And when you heard the whole rape thing and then you heard Marcus, did that shock you? Because?
He a pervert.
You ever date Marcus?
No, that's my cousin.
Oh, it's your cousin?
Yes.
Marcus Hurd's own cousin is pointing the finger at him, and we do know that he and Doug were friends now. That means that Doug's involvement in this murder could have been as simple as shooting his mouth off to Marcus about his grandmother's money, or it could be as bad as him being directly involved in the rape and murder of his grandmother. Marcus has always claimed to have an alibi, but I think it's time for us to investigate that.
Hey, how you doing? Latar, how you doing, baby?
All right.
Baby, you ain't in no trouble. Quit looking all scared and stuff. How you doing?
I'm doing all right.
I need to talk to you for a few minutes. You got a few minutes?
Latoria Pittman is the center of Marcus's alibi for the time of the murder. Marcus claims he was at her house at the time the murder occurred. Marcus Hurd is currently in prison for a parole violation, so we hope that that'll make Latoria seem secure enough away from him to tell us the truth about his whereabouts at the time of the murder.
Tell me about Marquise Hurd.
He's my 3 daughters' father.
Okay.
He molested his daughter, though, didn't he?
Is that one of your babies?
I have no contact with him now.
Latoria, and it says in your statement that on the actual day that Miss Kellum was killed, Marquise showed up at your house at around 2 o'clock in the afternoon. You remember that?
Because I got my daughter off the bus at 2:30, and we went down to my mother's house to get some trash bags.
Okay, and you had your daughter with you? And where was Marquise at this time?
On the porch.
Why did Marcus go with you?
Because my mama don't like him.
According to your statement, you come home sometime around 5 or 6, so you stayed there about 3 hours at your mother's house.
And I was trying to wait him out to leave.
Wait him out to leave.
Okay, now how sure are you about 5:30? How do you know it's not 5 or 6?
Because I give my mom her insulin at 5:25.
Do you know where he was from the time you left till you got back?
He left there, I wouldn't know.
Okay.
This is incredible. Latoria left Marcus for over 3 hours, way more than enough time for him to have the opportunity to leave the house and come back and commit the murder.
When you got back from your mother's house, you was hoping Marcus was gone, but he wasn't. He was still on the porch.
Was he all by himself?
Terry.
Who?
Drama guy, Terry.
Terry Grimble is a known acquaintance of Marcus Hurd. And he's a liar, and he's just not a very truthful person.
Marcus stayed until 9 p.m.
I couldn't get him to leave, and he got violent.
How violent? What did he do?
He pushed me and he choked me. And after I got up from that, me and my daughter went in my room, and I locked the door.
Have you ever asked Marcus anything about that night, about that day? Why not?
No, ma'am, I haven't. Because I was afraid for myself.
Marcus Hurd has a history of sexual deviance and violence that fits this crime to a T. If he had time to travel from his girlfriend Latoria's house to Miss Louise's house, within that 3-hour window that Latoria cannot account for, we'll have ourselves a prime suspect with motive, criminal history, and access to the crime scene.
Okay, so that's where Marcus was on the porch when you left, and Marcus and Terry were on the porch when you got back.
I'm gonna walk, actually. Get out and walk. All right, here I go. Start timing me now. All right, Pooch, you don't want lead poisoning.
You realize he used you that night.
I realize it now.
I really did not have any idea, Kelly, that we were talking that close to a distance.
I didn't either.
I thought we were talking a mile and a half, 2 miles.
I did too. I thought more than that.
We're right at her door. I'm at her door.
Right under 5 minutes.
5 minutes.
I had no idea it was that close. LaToria told us that on the afternoon of the murder, she could not account for his whereabouts for over 3 hours. Now that we know her home is only 5 minutes from the victim's house, Marcus had plenty of time to commit the murder and return to LaToria's with time to spare. All right, let's take this lady home.
That's Terry right there.
Where?
Right up there. And that Terry walking across.
Well, let's not let him see her.
Driving LaToria home, who do we run into but Terry Trimble?
Let me holler at you.
We'll be back and pick you up, G.
All right. Terry, how you doing?
LaToria Pittman put Terry and Marcus together the day of the murder.
Was he all by himself?
Terry. The Trump guy, Terry.
Terry was with her.
Terry probably know more about this case than he's willing to let on.
No, the day it happened, I told y'all. I went hanging with the dude at the time, but everybody talking about he the one.
Who's that?
Marquise Hurd.
And you're not changing your story.
My story is gonna stay the same. Everybody say I was with him. That's a lie because I know I
Marcus is gonna throw you slap under that bus.
We finna put an end to this shit. We finna put an end to this. You were with Marcus. We know that.
Hey,
I'm
Terry.
telling you the truth. I ain't got no reason to lie to y'all.
Okay.
You either go home or you go in Tallapoosa County Jail. Now, what do you want it to be? Now, you got an option. What do you want it to be?
Be the witness, not the defendant.
What do you want it to be?
All right, look, Roosevelt. I'm gonna tell you like this. I can't remember that far back. I'm just telling you I don't know.
We know you can't remember anything. Hell, you've been smoking crack, pot, and every damn thing else. But just try somehow remember that 7 or 8-year-old lady. Put that in your mind and say, look, I'm gonna help them because of her. Not because of him, not because of him, not because of me, but because of her. She's the victim. Remember that.
Terry Trimble isn't giving us anything. Is that because his brains are fried or he's cold as ice? Who knows? But we don't have to tell Marcus Hurd that. We're going to pay Marcus Hurd a visit in prison where he's currently serving time for a parole violation.
Marquis.
What's up, bro?
Our plan is to bluff Marcus with an admission from Terry Trimble to see if he'll break.
Do you remember back in 2005 you gave a statement of a woman's death that died there in Camp Hill? Okay. That day, did you stay at LaToria's place all afternoon? Oh, I did. Okay. Did LaToria ever leave and go somewhere that afternoon? She probably walked down the hill to her mother's house. Okay. Did you ever leave that night? I think I went to the store. I know I had some business. Okay. I probably did. So, did Terry come over there? No. Did you know where Miss Kellum lived? Yeah. Had you ever been to her house? Never. You ever go up in her yard? Never. How long a walk is it, Marquise, from LaToria Pittman's place to Miss Kellum's place? About 5, 6 minutes. At the most.
What if we told you that Terry put you in that house?
Man, come on, man. He lied.
You think he's lying?
I know for a fact he lied.
Also, a phone call came from that house to your girlfriend at the time Miss Kellum was killed. You're a burglar. You're not a murderer. Something went wrong in a burglar. Very wrong.
This is your opportunity, Marcus.
It's your opportunity to tell us what happened.
Help yourself.
It wasn't me.
Marquise Hurd could possibly be a sociopath. He sexually molested his own 5-year-old daughter. He didn't care who he hurt. He didn't have any feelings or empathy with other people. That's the toughest type of person to get to confess to anything.
Today, the DNA results are finally coming back from Sorensen Lab. Marcus Hurd and Doug Freeman, they're both still strongly on our suspect board. So it would be wonderful if we could get some DNA back to tell us something about who committed this murder.
Hello. How are y'all doing this morning?
Good morning. Good morning.
Good morning. Good morning. Got these lab results.
Is that everything? No piecemeal? It's all there?
We'll see.
I hope this is good news.
Okay, the cord found around her neck. They could see DNA, but it's below the threshold.
Wow.
Whatever they got is just not working.
Okay.
Which means it's inconclusive. It won't go anywhere for us. The sexual assault kit, the vaginal swabs, they do come back to Louise.
That's all?
It's basically inconclusive. There isn't anything else on that part.
So basically, at this point, we don't have anything really good.
Well, we have her underwear where there's a few stains. All right. 3 stains on her underwear, and they all come back to, oh my God. Where there's a few stains that were detected on the underwear. In fact, 3 stains on her underwear, and they all come back to, oh my God. Marcus Hurd.
Oh, God. Finally.
Girl.
Finally.
This is a slam dunk.
You're gonna eat some crab! Oh, and what do you have to do now?
I'll eat all the crap you got.
I have given Yolanda so much flack for all of her DNA results, and now she's finally gotten to prove me wrong because Sorensen came back with results to the tune of 1 in 3.64 quadrillion. Confirmation that we have our killer, and we could not be any happier. Chief, what you thinking?
That's a monster.
Yes.
That's a monster. Let's get with the DA.
Yeah. There's no arguing with DNA evidence. We have Marcus Hurd's DNA on the underwear of our victim. We know who committed this crime.
Thank you, Jesus. Now to have this completed is, words can't describe it.
It's just a deep satisfaction knowing I was able to help that woman.
Finally, justice for Miss Kelly.
That's right.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Morning. Good morning. All right.
We made some progress,
Right.
so we want to update you on everything.
I want to hear about it.
So far, DNA is just outstanding.
And here's what you'll appreciate as a prosecutor. The likelihood of any other person being the contributor to that semen DNA is 1 in 3.64 quadrillion.
Bigger numbers than I can write.
Biggest ones I've ever seen.
I think we got a good case.
If he gets out, somebody will get hurt there in Camp.
He's not about to get out, I can assure you that.
Even though Marcus Hurd is currently serving time in prison, he could have gotten out in about 7 years. Now he'll be indicted for capital murder.
He got to it.
It couldn't have turned out any better.
I'm so excited. It feels wonderful that I can say to the family, there is closure. Miss Louise was someone that was in my corner, regardless to what the circumstances were. She believed in me.
I'm happy.
Yay, that's all good. You know, talking to the victim's family members after a case is always kind of bittersweet. On one hand, you want to tell them the good news, that justice is finally going to come. On the other hand, they have to listen to all the details of the horrible crime that happened.
Well, I have some good news for you.
Okay.
Very good news. We know who killed your mom.
Hallelujah. Hallelujah.
Definitively, no uncertainty.
No doubt.
Hallelujah.
To the odds of 1 in 3.64 quadrillion people.
Okay.
One person. That monster Marcus Hurd.
Oh, Lord.
So we think you probably went into the house to find some money for dope, and maybe your mom came home a little too early. What are you thinking?
Well, I just feel sad for his mom and his dad, but I feel joy for our family because I know this is over. It's closure, and I'm thankful. We got justice for Mama. Hallelujah.
Absolutely.
Yep. Yeah, she's probably jumping around in heaven saying, thank you, Lord. It's over. It's finished. We got justice for you, Mama.
What are you thinking, Cameron?
Pleased to hear resolution of something that's been so very old, but something that you think about and you won't ever let it go. It is helpful and certainly refreshing and wonderful to know that no one in our family did this. But if it had been, justice still needed to be done. And we thank you too, and certainly Chief Finley.
You should know that the chief picked up his phone, and if he didn't know him, he knew somebody who knew him. And they all call him Roosevelt. We didn't tell you this story. Somebody told us Miss Louise would say, Roosevelt, you think you're the baddest man in this town, but you're not, I am.
Throughout a lot of conversations you and I've had over the years, and what did I tell you?
You said you working on it, and you gonna try to find out who killed Mama.
And I never give up.
That's right. You would never give up, and he didn't.
Miss Kellum is looking down from heaven saying, good job, Roosevelt.
Yolanda, Dee Dee, and Kelly have been a great inspiration in my life and put me in a great opportunity to learn more about how to work the unsolved cases that I am currently working on. And hopefully we'll get some positive results. And always remember, I got some good friends I can call now for assistance.
Very nice to meet y'all.
Nice to meet you, too. Thank you.
You're very welcome, baby. I'm so happy that this town can finally heal. Marcus Hurd will be convicted, hopefully, and go to prison. And
Seems like a quaint little town.
considering where we've been, huh?
Mm-hmm. Very, very sad case. You're not really talking about one murder here, you're talking about two.
16 years ago, 17-year-old Maricel Gonzalez was found shot to death in an alley next to her home. But there was also another victim, her unborn son, Andrew.
She was at term on her pregnancy, too, wasn't she? She was ready to have that baby.
This is a rarer case because the Cottonwood police have one main suspect, but they've never been able to find enough evidence to bring charges. You have motive all over the place on the part of the baby's daddy and his new girl. What we need to do is make it stronger so that the prosecutor here is proud of it and ready to present it to a jury. The problem with this case is that there are so many witnesses, but many of them have been afraid to talk. There were threats being made, there were rumors flying around, and people were afraid.
Maybe after all these years, somebody has a conscience and will say what they know.
And I can't even imagine having to go to her family and tell them at the end of our time here that we still don't have any answers.
It has been 16 years and still no answers.
Police consider her killing a cold case.
Years later, the case is still unsolved.
There are so many cold cases out there just waiting to be solved.
The crime scene ultimately tells the story of the murder.
We want to bring justice to these victims.
Thank you, baby.
Hi, Chief.
Hello.
Hello.
Howdy.
I'm Kelly.
Nice to meet you. Looking forward to working with you.
The Cottonwood Police Department has always been determined to solve this case from the very moment that it happened.
Today, police continue to follow up on all leads they have in this case, but they have yet to make an arrest.
Since then, they've put up silent witness posters. They've done everything they possibly could to try and get some leads.
Silent Witness is offering a $1,000 cash reward. And remember, you never have to give your name.
I firmly believe that there was a lot of intimidation that occurred after the case.
The main suspect was believed to have been involved with gangs, so when you hear that, you know people are going to be afraid to talk.
I've got young girls at home. They're now teenage girls, so it resonated with me.
Because of the fact that Marisol was shot and killed, and the baby was left to suffocate and die. The plain cruelty of that alone drove me to not stop on this case. We've had her picture up for years, seeing her gravesite, her smile. It haunts you, and it drives you to do everything you can to find the answers.
Hey, boys.
Girls, ladies.
Good morning.
Hey, how are you? Sergeant Moore?
Armando Perez.
Armando, nice to meet you too. Glad you guys are here.
We've brought in homicide investigators Alan Brown and Armando Perez to help with this case, which is really good because we have almost 90 people that we need to find and talk to. Todd, I think I found a fellow nerd here.
Wow.
That's kind of OCD anal, buddy. High five there. Todd is a beautiful nerd, kind of like I am. He knows everything, and he's got it all prepared, and he's got a plan, and we're going to make that plan work. Todd, start with telling us the story from the very beginning.
In March 24th, 1997,
Marisol Gonzalez, 17 years old, 9 months pregnant, was out of high school for the first days of spring break. About 10 o'clock that night, Marisol received a phone call. She left wearing slippers, a pair of sweatpants, and a light jacket. And that's the last she's seen again by her family. Finally, by about 5 o'clock in the morning, they make an official missing persons report. At about 6:58 that morning, Ruben Molina, who lived right across the street from where Marisol's body was found, looks out and sees a person laying in the alleyway. She realizes that it's Marisol with a gunshot wound to the face and call 911.
How the first is go? There's a girl, like, in the middle of the alley, laying down. Where at? And her eyes are, like, purple.
And over here we have the father of the baby, Cecilio Cruz. The Cottonwood Police Department feels very strongly that Cecilio is Marisol's killer. So the goal here is to see if we can build a strong enough case to warrant an indictment and put him behind bars. What all reasons can we think of for motive?
Baby's daddy.
Baby daddy?
At 17 years old, that's got to be a huge worry about finances.
And where she's found dead in the alleyway is where they normally meet.
The Bamboo is where they regularly met.
Okay, regular meeting place.
He doesn't have an alibi for the time.
Cecilio claims that he went to bed at 10 o'clock the night of the murder and didn't get up until the next morning.
Marisol left a portable phone. When that phone was found at the morning that they found her body, they hit the redial on that phone, and the phone number that rang back to was the Cruz home.
He says, I never talked to Marisol because I guess you really can't prove he actually talked to her.
The phone call is important because you have this phone that at one point made a call to Cecilio's house, but you can't establish for sure that one spoke to the other. If there's a way to prove that Cecilio was the last one to talk to Marisol, that's one more way to strengthen our case. Because he has always said he never spoke to her at all the night of the murder. Todd, how did he act when he heard about her?
He never asked how she died.
He didn't inquire at all.
Was she hit by a truck, died giving childbirth?
That's definitely odd.
Doesn't ask about the baby, other than makes a statement that he knows the baby's okay.
You haven't heard that? No. The baby's all right, though. The baby's all right? She just gotta have a baby. Why is the baby all right and she's not? Well, I don't know. What happened to her? That's what I'm asking you.
All I know, the baby's all right. It's not a question.
Right, it's a statement.
It's a statement.
Okay, I'm gonna quote it.
That was that very first interview, before they even told him that Marisol was killed.
We're gonna put up Danny Cruz next. There are two other people police are looking at with regard to the planning or the covering up of the murder. One of them is Cecilio's older brother, Danny Cruz, who is accounted for at the time of the murder. We just don't know exactly what he was doing before or afterwards.
Danny, his consistently moving story.
When you listen to Danny Cruz's original police interviews, he keeps changing his timelines, and that raises a red flag.
You left Cecilio at home alone. Yeah. Now, you didn't tell me that the other day. Yeah, I know. At the other interview, when you told me that you knew Cecilio could have never left the house because you were there, there was a time when you didn't know where Cecilio was. 5 minutes. But there was a time. You didn't tell me that. No, I didn't. Okay.
We need to figure out whether Danny helped set up Marisol's murder or if he might have aided Cecilio in hiding evidence after she was killed. How much do y'all care that he's a drug dealer?
If they're making threats, that gives that credence to it. I'm a drug dealer, using that machismo thing.
There were rumors around town that Danny and Cecilio might have been involved in gang activity, and that could have kept some witnesses from coming forward.
They wanted the police to go after you, make it look like you did it. Because they know where I live, they know where she lives. Right. Are they gangbanger types? Yeah.
Okay, so last but not least, Kylie Oso. Kylie was Cecilio's new girlfriend, and kind of like Danny, we wonder if she knows more about the murder. We need to find that out in order to determine how to move forward with her.
She was pregnant.
That's the biggest thing. She now found out she's also pregnant. I see her looking at Marisol as this person who's always going to have a tie to Cecilio, and that's a problem for her.
So Cecilio's got the old girlfriend pregnant, the new girlfriend pregnant. He's a really busy guy.
This week is all about trying to build a rock-solid case against Cecilio. We're going to need to find witnesses who can poke holes in Cecilio's alibi that night and find witnesses who know more about Marisol's phone activity, about what kind of involvement Danny and Kylie may have had in Marisol's murder.
We'll catch you guys in a little bit.
Good luck.
Hi. How are you?
Doing good. Come on in.
We're excited to meet y'all.
Same here.
What are you thinking?
A lot of mixed emotions.
He was hard to forget.
How do you forget?
I can't.
Can you talk about that day?
And it was March 24th. The next day, she was going to have a baby.
The very next day?
Yeah. My uncle's wife let us borrow the truck, but I could take my sisters to the doctor's appointment. And when we got there, I saw Cecilia and Kylie also sitting there.
And there's only one reason to be at that doctor's office, right?
That she was pregnant.
At the same time?
Yeah.
Wow.
That night, I had a long-distance phone call. So my sister kept going in and out of the room, telling me that she was waiting for a phone call.
Who was she waiting for a call from?
Cecilia.
All right. Did you hear the other line click in?
Yeah.
But you didn't answer?
I didn't answer.
When you give her the phone, do you see her dialing or talking on the phone?
No, she just took the phone outside.
And then what did you do?
I went to bed, and then my mom woke me up, asking me where's my sister. So they went looking for her.
Okay.
That morning, one of our neighbors came up to us and told us that they had seen a bunch of cups around the corner. So they took us over there.
Well, I hope that one day you get to see a trial.
Yeah.
We're gonna have justice for her and her son.
If you could, can you walk us and show us the route, the shortcut?
Yeah.
Are we going to the alley?
Yeah.
And for her to get there, is this the way she walked?
Yeah. This is where they found her.
Okay. We need to talk about some stuff with her pictures that y'all don't want to hear. Okay?
Thank you.
Thank you. Think positive thoughts.
Oh.
And we'll see you hopefully in about a week.
All right.
Okay?
You did good.
Oh, thank you.
We're investigating the 1997 murder of Marisol Gonzalez and her unborn son with the hope of trying to put together a strong enough case against her ex-boyfriend, Cecilio Cruz. Usually when you have a crime scene, it's inside some kind of building, a house, a garage, and it's static. The only thing significant about this crime scene, and it's huge, is that it's in that alleyway. That's where she was?
Yeah, right here.
The head was up this way.
And feet are down this way.
Feet was down this way.
Now, they never actually determined what the caliber of this gun was, correct?
That's correct. And it was a small caliber, but they couldn't identify it.
Okay. We know the bullet entered the left cheek. It went from left to right. I would say I probably have a right-hand shooter. And whoever's in front of her produces this gun. Out of a natural reaction, a lot of people will grab it. But sights are from the sight on top of that gun. She might have actually even pulled the gun up slightly, causing, the shot to actually go through her cheek versus maybe in the chest. The apartment right there.
Are our gunshot witnesses.
Yeah, Ruben's there.
Okay.
Ruben Molina, back in 1997, lived in an apartment that directly overlooked the alley where Marisol's body was found.
Ruben had a very unobstructed view.
Right, straight through, there's no doubt. You can see the buildings.
It's time to start talking to witnesses to see if we can find out any more information that will help us definitively say if Cecilio was the killer or if anyone else could have been involved. Ruben Molina is first on the list. Are you Ruben?
Yeah.
Nice to meet you.
I'm Kelly. Okay.
Queremos hablar de qué pasó a Marisol 16 años en el pasado.
Okay. ¿Recuerdas? Sí.
Ruben Molina is the person who found her body that morning, and in his initial statement, he was very clear about what he saw and what he heard. We want to confirm that statement and also see if there's anything else he might know, because there are a lot of rumors floating around town that he actually saw what happened.
Lo que pasó es que como a las 4 de la mañana ese día, yo desperté y iba a ir al baño y cuando desperté oí un sonido y un balazo.
¿Es como pistola?
Sí, la pistola.
As soon as Ruben starts talking, things aren't adding up. Multiple witnesses report hearing a gunshot around 12:30 a.m., nowhere near 4.
Y poquitos minutos después oí otro, pero más claro. Para mí es 22, ¿no? O sea, no muy fuerte. Y al rato como ese one door is locked in the car, y the car is...
Now he's talking about not just one shot, but two, and now he can say they're from a .22 that happened at 4 o'clock in the morning, and now he's adding in a car squealing away from the scene. So you hear like a car door slam and a motor gunning around what time?
Before 5?
Before 5. There's never been any evidence or reports of a car being involved in this crime at all. I'm confused.
A mí me preguntaron, yo dije lo que me preguntaron, así como ustedes.
This man knows a lot more than he's telling us today, and you can only think that he's intimidated or afraid to tell all that he knows for some reason. He ain't telling the truth.
He's exactly right.
And we ain't gonna get him to tell the truth.
Nope, you're not.
Hi, Mr. Lomelli. Valentin Lomelli is Marisol's uncle, and he knows Ruben Molina and a lot of other people involved in this case and has for a long time. Talking to him about that night and any intimidation that might have been going on could shed some light on a lot of new things.
I feel jealousy because I know her when she was 10 months old.
Valentin Lomelli was at the scene that morning when Marisol's body was found and identified.
We saw the body right there covered with shit. Everybody going crazy. I don't know if I can take care of my wife, my brother, my sister-in-law. It's crazy.
Did there come a time where you talked to Ruben Molina?
He tried to cover because Ruben is a godfather to Cecilio. Cecilio godfather.
Oh.
Yeah. You don't know that?
No.
Yeah, it is.
He kind of left that out.
So that's why we think.
He's protecting him.
Yeah, they protect him.
Absolutely. Now that we know the truth about Ruben Molina's relationship with about the shooting.
Thanks, sir.
According to the offense report, one of Ruben's neighbors, a young girl named Kayla Thomas, may have witnessed something that night. Kayla Thomas doesn't live in town anymore, but Chief Fanning has agreed to go back to that apartment and show us exactly what she told him so long ago.
Kayla was sitting in here doing her homework.
Okay.
When she heard the gunshot.
Because I thought it was just a tire popped, and my mom got mad at me in the morning. I asked if I heard anything. I said yes. She's like, why didn't you wake me up? Because there's some girl dead out here.
She comes on out to the balcony because she can hear the dog barking. And she comes out here.
Oh, now look at this view.
She
That's
can
exactly
see
the
all
view.
the way down that
Boom.
street. She can see all the way up this street.
Kayla specifically mentioned seeing no cars. That'll be a perfect counter to Ruben's inconsistent story.
She sees no cars, no people. There's nothing but the dogs right over there.
Wow.
But she could not see Marisol from here. It was dark.
And she does not see a car leaving.
Right.
It's pretty ridiculous to think that gang members are going to do a drive-by and then take off on foot.
Think about this. Cecilio's house is straight down this alleyway off to the left, right?
Correct. 150 yards maximum.
He could be back in his house in no time.
20 seconds.
In the same window of time where he can't explain where he is.
The only escape route is to Cecilio's house.
A jury's going to love her. If she can remember everything as well as she used to, she's going to be a great witness.
The next morning, she finds out that a 17-year-old is laying there dead, and that was that bang she heard. That's going to stick with you the rest of your life.
We have so many witnesses we need to talk to that we need to have a plan. And Todd has drafted 3 of his guys to go out and look for people and beat the streets and knock on doors and bring them down here. And boy, are we glad they're here. There's a hope that when we start talking to all these people, we find somebody new that has never come forth before.
Most of the friends of the main players were in high school at the time this happened. Everybody's 17 years old at the time of the murder. Everybody's grown up and they've scattered to the wind.
I have never driven so many miles for a murder.
It's exhausting being in a car for that long a period of time.
I wish I could remember more, I really do.
Do you remember Danny at all? Acting nervous, acting unusual?
No.
That was a bust, wasn't it?
Zoom, going from one city to the next. She's telling me that she's out of the country.
We drove like 1,600 miles in 2 days.
We had to stop and get new tires.
All the rivers off of these, we can down this much.
We're talking to a lot of people, but so far nobody's given us anything really direct that we can use.
She wouldn't even give me her phone number here.
You want to get information that's not just gossip and rumor and hearsay.
Kylie went crazy, did something to Marisol. And Cecilia was such an idiot that he would do anything Kylie said.
Well, Kylie's a bitch.
Pretty much what we've been told by everyone.
She is. Marty and her had gotten into arguments at school. I mean, Kylie yelled at her. Kill you, bitch.
In the real world, as exhausting as it is, you have to talk to every single witness because you never know when you're going to find that one that turns out to be the jackpot.
That night, I was at their house. Marisol was talking to another friend who would be there.
Okay, hold up, sister.
See, this is new information. So I didn't even know you were at the house the night it happened.
Yeah, we're in the house. Marisol was on the phone with Lupita. She says, hey, I'm getting a call from Cecilio. Can I call you back?
I'm like, wait, what'd you just say? She doesn't know it's important. You have to remember, Cecilio says that he didn't talk to Marisol at all the day of the murder. So we could be catching him in a pretty important lie. You know, you would think by now we know why we never give up on a witness and we don't blow anybody off, because you just never know what's going to happen.
Sometimes they lead you to other people that years ago no one even knew.
You know, if I could dream up a witness that I wish we had, it would be Lupita. We need to find her. We need to talk to her. While the Cottonwood Police Department is looking for Lupita, we need to try and find somebody who can give us a better perspective onto what was happening inside Danny and Cecilio's house that very night. It could be that Connie Sanchez is that person.
My name's Alan Brown, and I'm a retired police officer, homicide detective from Houston, Texas.
According to the police report, two of Danny's friends, Gabriel Lamas and Ernie Rojo, stopped by the house that night around 3 o'clock in the morning, which we think is a couple of hours after Marisol was killed.
Well, I'm very sorry to hear about Ernie, your son.
The kids, I mean, we always thought we were going to go before them.
Ernie is now deceased.
That's the way it's supposed to be.
But his mom, Connie Sanchez, heard Ernie and Gabriel talking about what happened that night the very next morning.
They were out on the porch, and I can hear them. I can hear, you know how you hear mumbling, just talking. And then I heard something about, yeah, that Marisol got killed or something like that. So I got closer to the window so I could hear.
Okay, so tell me what you're hearing when you're standing there listening.
They said they wanted a place to sleep. And Danny and Cecilio said, go ahead and crash, we gotta leave, we'll be back.
Oh, that's new.
But I remember the boys talking, and they said that when they came back, they were nervous about something. They said they were both sweating, wouldn't stay up, they were tweaking, they were running to window.
Really?
But Ernie didn't
Ernie
know.
told you that?
Yes, but they didn't know at the time what had happened that night.
See, she can't make all this up. She knows exactly what happened. She knows the whole thing. From Gabriel and Ernie talking when she's listening at the window. They leave. We've never heard that before. That could be where they lose the gun and the phone.
Then I went out on the porch and I said, who died, Ernie? What happened? He says, Marisol. I says, who's that? He says, Cecilio's girlfriend. I says, what happened to her? He says, they killed her. Then I went out on the porch and I said, who died, Ernie? He says, Marisol. I says, who's that? He says, Cecilio's girlfriend. I says, what happened to her? He says, they killed her.
Now we need Gabriel to say this story. He can testify to it. I wish it would all be like her.
Well, yeah, I mean, I don't doubt anything she says at all.
She is never going to testify in the courtroom because everything she knows is hearsay.
You have witnesses who provide you with actual information who one day will be able to testify in a court of law. Like Ernie Rojo could have, and hopefully Gabriel Lamas will. And the rest of them are information-type witnesses that help you question these people.
Now that you know what she says Gabe and Ernie say happened, can you get in Gabriel to say it? Our next step is to talk to Gabriel Lamas and hope that he can corroborate some of the things that Connie Sanchez just told us.
Gabriel was invited over to the house to party and ended up staying the night, so he'll be privy to the conversations between Danny and Cecilio. How about Cecilio? Did you see Cecilio when you went over there?
I didn't see Cecilio at all.
No?
No.
So do you remember Danny acting funny or acting unusual?
He wasn't.
No?
No, not to me, he wasn't.
But you never saw Cecilio?
Never saw.
Did Danny even tell you where Cecilio was?
No, he didn't say anything about him.
And then you go to Ernie's house?
I drop him off, yeah.
Did y'all go on the porch and talk up on the porch? You remember that? If you really don't have any more information, the answer is, I don't know anymore.
want to say we talked, but I don't.
But he'd think long and hard. There'd be a long, quiet pause.
I can't remember.
And then he'd start shaking his head no. And then he'd look up and say, I just don't have anything else to offer.
No matter what you said back then, no matter what, all we're after is the exact truth and what you can remember. You know, you have your own family. That baby was 9 months in 1 week. It's full term, and it's dead. We know you're at the house that night. You're there at a prime time.
And you can see in Gabe's eyes that he's scared. He's fearful to say anything.
I look at your face, and you look to me like you're still fearing Cottonwood. I think those guys' threats are empty.
But to be honest with you,
Yeah.
I've lived with that fear. And I hear you say that they're nobodies and this and that, but
You want to see Marisol's baby?
I really don't, man.
I don't want to creep you out, man, but I want you to look at it.
I felt like I've talked about this and explained everything on my perspective of it, what I saw, what I heard.
The path of a man's soul is through his eyes.
I really don't have anything. And then when I was getting drilled all them years, I don't have anything.
Do we feel there's more there with Gabriel? Absolutely. But because of what happened that night to Marisol, I think he's afraid it could happen to him.
So what are we missing, man? What are these people done? I mean, either they know that they killed Marisol, and if you can kill a 9-month pregnant woman, then you can kill anybody. I think that's right.
Talking to Gabe was a little disappointing, but there were other people that were invited over to the house that night, so let's go try and find them.
Was Danny out at the party as well?
Danny was, yeah.
We were at a party at Mormon's Crossing.
But did Danny give you a time he wanted you back at his house?
No, he just said to meet at his house.
And I think it was because it was boring, so he said, come back to my house.
What time do you think that was that y'all went over there?
Between 11 and 12 sometime.
When we went and showed up at his house,
One of us got out to see if he was home. Nobody ever answered the door.
we waited for a while and the house was completely black.
Nobody ever showed up, so then we left.
With all of those people coming and going that night and Cecilio claiming that he was asleep, we need to take a look at the layout of that house or what's left of it.
The city burned it down. It was condemned. The foundation is still there. It was actually a 3-bedroom house, a little less than 900 square feet, I believe.
Cecilio claims that he went to bed around 10 o'clock that night. With all of those people coming and going, and seeing this house and how very small it is makes that claim seem just a little bit ridiculous. So people are beating on the front door.
Right.
There's no way you couldn't hear it.
No.
I mean, if the phone's ringing, you know they heard it. So that's weird. Why are they lying about that?
You only lie for one reason.
That's exactly it. You're trying to cover something up. Hearing from all the people that Danny invited back to his house the night Marisol was killed not only puts major holes in Cecilio's alibi, but it raises questions as to what Danny knew.
Able to see the Cruz house up close and knowing all that we do about Danny's actions that night, we need to see whether or not he's involved in this crime to the degree that charges are warranted against Danny. Let's look at what we have under Danny Cruz. We're always going to wonder, is he guilty of tampering with evidence? The gun, the phone, but the statute of limitations is 10 years, and this is a 16-year-old case. So is he guilty of being involved in the capital murder?
No. I think he's got a good alibi for the time. Everybody else, including the girl he was out with, puts him out till much later.
It's ridiculous to think that Danny would be inviting friends over if he knew Cecilio was planning on killing Marisol. This basically eliminates the possibility that he was involved before this all went down.
All right, so we're going to mark Danny Cruz off the board. Now that we believe that Danny Cruz can't be charged with being involved in this crime, we need to focus on someone who was very close to Cecilio at that time, and that's Kylie Oso.
Kylie, I'm Sergeant Moore, Cottonwood Police Department.
How you doing, I'm Alan Brett.
Hi. Kylie's welcoming, invites us into the home. Once we get inside, disaster strikes.
I'm her mom.
You're Kathy.
Yes.
And then her mother's head popped out of a back room, and here she came.
Dragging her name through the mud. We couldn't go down the road without people flipping her off. I can tell you right now what happened.
What happened?
I had Navajo taco dinner for my whole neighborhood. Tara, my daughter, gave Cecilio a ride home. When he met with his girlfriend in the alley that night, they thought it was Kylie. They shot the wrong girl.
So your theory is that Marisol is shot by these guys because they thought it was her,
I think they thought it was Kylie.
but Cecilia was standing there when they shot her?
Okay. You guys are ridiculous. You won't even listen to the truth and what happened.
I think you understand. It's just because of her relationship with the people that were involved in this is why her name is always going to come up in the investigation until it gets solved.
Todd was able to kind of slice Mom over to the kitchen and get into a different conversation with her, and which gave me the opportunity to talk to Kylie. Did he always deny to you talking or seeing Marisol? And did you believe him?
Yeah, I wanted to.
She had the same reaction and look as Gabriel. She would play with the pillow, little to no eye contact, and the only time she would make eye contact is when you're talking about things other than the murder case. How many kids you got? 4?
Yeah.
Then she'd look up and she'd answer. And then you say, well, let's talk about Marisol's death and her baby. And then she'd look down. All right, we'll call you. Try to have a good evening.
Thank you for understanding.
What a f***ing nightmare that was. You did great, man. You just salvaged it talking to her. And
So if there's ever an expression, when you get lemons, make lemonade, we made a lot of lemonade today.
let's go back. We've got a long way.
All she's doing is covering up knowing something afterwards. The statute of limitations is run on her just like it has on Danny, and she can't be charged for anything. But if she is involved in the planning or preparation of the crime in any way or in assisting, she could still be charged as a co-defendant. With Kylie refusing to participate in a formal sit-down interview,
as I said, Detective Monday.
we're very excited that Lupita is agreeing to come down and talk to us. Every time we run into somebody on this list that turns us on to somebody else, we go talk to them, which is how we got to you. And as it turns out, you might be like one of the most important people of all.
You know, I think about that before to come, and I don't know why I didn't came and say something. I was afraid.
Okay.
And I called Marisol, and because I was going to Mexico, and I knew she was going to have the baby really soon. So I said, do you like this kind of shoes? And we started talking about baby stuff. So when I was talking to her, when she says, hold on, Cecilio is calling me.
Those words came out of her mouth while you were on the phone.
Yeah. And then she answered me back, and she says, I'll call you back. And I say, okay, that's fine.
You're the last person on this earth who talked to Marisol before Cecilio.
It's got to me a lot because I saw the baby when they were in the coffin. And I can get those images from my brain, and then I know they will never go away.
Lupita is great. And Lupita can say he called her that night within hours of her being shot dead and found in the alley. And she told me, I'll call you back. It's Cecilio on the other line. Lupita is a living, breathing, heart-beating example of, I never came forward because I was scared. Because Lupita has come forward with this new information, our case against Cecilio just got a whole lot better. Now it's time for us to go talk to Cecilio Cruz directly and see what he has to say about this new evidence. Just get anything out of him, we'll be happy.
Okay.
We'll just be listening. All right.
I am super stoked.
Right, here we go.
To be able to talk to Cecilio Cruz. We arrive at his place of work, asked to speak to Cecilio as a witness in a crime. Okay, I appreciate it. Thank you very much.
So Todd and I had decided before Cecilio ever entered the room that we would approach him with, we've got new information that has reopened the investigation into your son's murder, Andrew.
I'm Sergeant Moore, Cottonwood Police Department.
How you doing? I'm Alan Brown.
Can I talk to you for a minute?
And he had no emotion, nothing. He listened, and then he said,
I just want an attorney present, if that's okay with you guys.
I mean, this is about your son.
Yeah, I know. I know what it's about.
I mean, you got nothing to hide, right?
Absolutely not. I just want to, make sure everything's cool, and it's just one of my rights. And
That's all for him. Everybody has a constitutional right to a lawyer, and that's good. But we're talking about a man whose baby was murdered. If your baby was murdered, would you be asking for a lawyer?
I will say this, he's still pretty cocky.
Yeah, he is.
Well, he's not going to go home and sleep so well tonight because he knows this is back on the radar.
Okay, we've talked to everybody we could possibly think of to talk to. With Kylie shutting us down and Cecilio choosing to lawyer up, we need to sit down and figure out whether or not we all believe there's enough evidence here to present this case to the DA. What we have up here is pretty darn good evidence. I mean, you have motive all over the place. Think about the pressure of Cecilio seeing both of his girlfriends pregnant together at the doctor's office. The whole time window. He cannot truly explain where he was between 10:30 and 12:30. With all of the activities and traffic in and out of the house that night,
One of us got out to see if he was home. Nobody ever answered the door.
this person she talked to while she breathed on this earth. Think about that. All this evidence that you have goes right back to Cecilio, every single thing.
When I opened this up again, I took it with a clear mind. I didn't use anything that was done before. I wanted to find my own reasons, and everything led back again to Cecilia.
I mean, I'm up in the air about Kylie, but if you think about the good of the case and solving it, you need her. You don't need her as a suspect, you need her on your side.
Well, you could get there by offering her immunity. There's a strategy you could pursue.
I don't think the case is going to get any better at this point. We've done everything we can do.
I'm ready.
Oh, wow.
Chocolate cake.
Yummy.
To the Cold Justice team, just a small token of my appreciation for all of your dedication and assistance. This has meant the world to my husband, as I know it does to the Gonzalez family and the city of Cottonwood. Mrs. Detective Sergeant Todd Moore, a.k.a. Jennifer.
Okay, so do we eat it now or do we wait on Todd?
He's going to come in and give us good news, and then we'll cut it.
Okay. It's Todd in the Chief.
Hey!
Oh, looks happy.
What'd they say?
Well, there's a few more things they want us to follow up on, but they have promised to move forward to a grand jury for an indictment.
Man,
Sweet.
that's great.
Sweet, sweet.
That's awesome.
Are you
Yes.
happy? Are you happy? Yay, yay, yay. That's
Awesome.
Very help, guys.
Good job.
Thank you. You have no idea how much this means to us.
Well, it's going to mean a lot to that family when we get to go talk to them today, which is such a relief, I think, for all of us.
I didn't know where I was going to go with this because it was just stacks of stuff to do, and it couldn't have got done without you guys' help, so that means a lot for me.
I want to say thank you for giving this family some closure and our community the ability to heal. Thank you.
Well, thanks for inviting us.
Thank you.
Now there's just one more thing left to do. Ready?
Hello.
Hi. How are you? Good to see you again.
See you too.
Good to see you.
Hey, how you doing?
Hi.
Well,
Good.
after this week of investigation, I went to the county attorney's office. They agree at this point that we have enough to move forward with Cecilio Cruz.
All right.
all right.
And this guy,
Yeah.
he never gave up.
Oh, you don't know the joy that's running through me.
Just waiting for him to be locked up and do the time that he has to do.
¿Y qué piensa, señora?
Yo estoy contenta y espero que...
She was saying that you don't understand that the pain never goes away.
nos llena algo estar ahí con ella.
She just wants to go hug her child. I don't think that there's anything that we could ever do that makes it okay. It's never going to be okay. But the very least that we have to do is make Cecilia responsible for what happened to her child. Para la paz. Peace.
Sí.
You're awesome, man.
Thank you so much.
It was a team effort.
We're going to let you tell your family.
All right. Thank you, Sarge.
Muchísimas gracias.
Thank you.
Muy agradecido. Muy agradecido.
Think good thoughts now.
Thank you so much.
I'm Angel's wife, Juanita.
Nice to meet you.
Thank you so much for coming through on your word. We really appreciate it. He said he wasn't going to give up, and
The joy I get being told by the family, you told us you wouldn't stop, and you're a man of your word, because I am a man of my word. And I hope that this helps heal some of the pain that's been in Cottonwood for all these years. And I hope it lets people know that justice will be served.
God is on our side.
Yes. God and Todd.
And
God bless you.
Bye-bye. I'm proud of all the work that everybody did. I'm proud that it worked out the way that it did.
This was the hardest thing I've ever done. The magnitude of this case, the work we did, the long hours we spent, it is a drop in the bucket to see the closure for that family.